Fred Simmons is making his 5th run for the Haverhill City Council, and he's going to keep doing it until he gets elected. We know that for sure. Fred, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Frank.
You know, I know that this is, running for Haverhill City Council is a project that's near and dear to your heart, and tell us why.
Well, I've always been an advocate for the community. I've been on multiple commissions with the City of Haverhill. I've been on the Waterfront Development Committee, the Sustainability Committee, and actually the Energy Task Force. Now I currently am in Haverhill Housing Authority Commission.
You're a member of the Haverhill Housing Authority Board?
Yes.
That's excellent. You know, so the thing is, I'm looking at this, and in the same way that many people think that they'd like to run for public office because they'd like to give back to the community, one of the questions that I sometimes wonder is they don't have to run for public office in order to give back to the community. They can volunteer their efforts as you have done, and you have a track record of having done so, and this seems like a natural next step for you to go ahead and do. You say in your campaign literature that you support new housing and new businesses. Can you tell us, how do you support new housing? You're talking about newer developments or for a certain type of price category or income category? Can you be a little more elaborate and specific on that?
Oh, sure. Well, as you know, we're a gateway city in Haverhill, and with the support of the Governor Baker's office and the economic development from Baker's office, we're looking in to promote more economic development down here in Haverhill. So in order to have economic development, Governor Baker understood this, and he actually wants to bring in more housing for Haverhill. And he understands it's a lot of people right now, it's the #1 crisis across the United States, plus actually Haverhill, because we're being priced out of places that we want to live in. But where companies are going to be probably new and innovative companies are coming into Haverhill, we hope that we can bring in the housing. And Governor Baker has a plan with gateway cities. I believe there's 15 of them, and he wants to promote the housing aspect because people need to be close to their jobs, whether they're commuting through rail or even buses or anything like that. They understand by actually helping this go forward that housing is a #1 priority, and actually affordable housing, with not to mention we still need market rate because people have to keep up with other cities and towns and community. So these are some of the things that the administration that we have now currently working on.
You know, being a member of the Haverhill Housing Authority, you have access sometimes to some of the statistics that other communities happen to have. How do you think Haverhill happens to stack up by providing affordable housing, more so than maybe some contiguous townships, but how about maybe some other cities and municipalities?
Well, Boston has a standard rate, I believe 20% when new developments come in. They want at least 20%. I don't know if they stick by it or not, but housing, especially like in the Boston area compared to a Haverhill, which we're all trying to be an industrial plus residential, which works out fine in a lot of other communities. But the problem is right now people can't afford to live here, and the ones that do are buying up all the houses, so people that want to buy a house, that's why we need a mix of both.
It seems a little odd, though, sometimes when you take into account, you say that some people can't afford to live here, but if they can't afford to live here, they really can't afford to live in some of the outside the contiguous communities because those prices, typically they're even border the city of Haverhill. Their prices for exactly the same type of property, about 20% more.
That's why a lot of them, they come looking at the Haverhill Housing or Community Action. They look for vouchers and something to keep them here. And these are some of the things that we need to actually explore, and hopefully, again, with the current administration, giving more money to the cities and towns since we're a gateway city.
You know, one of the things that makes you a bit of a standout candidate among all the others is that a hallmark of your campaign over the years has been the fact that you say that you would not take your salary as a city councilor, you would donate it to the Haverhill Band.
Yes. Our marching band has dwindled over the years, and again, this is a dedication to my mother. She's Annette Belfiore. She came out of the Haverhill Band system, and she actually was the first woman they allowed to play in the Sons of Italy, because it was like an all-men's club at the time, and she broke the first barrier to become a first woman out of Haverhill to join.
That's pretty interesting, because that amounts to how much?
For $15,000, I believe, is the current city council salary.
To put that into perspective, if I'm not mistaken, if we take a page out of our neighbor's book, which I'm talking about the state legislature in New Hampshire, state senators and state representatives do their job there for the entire state of New Hampshire for $1 a year. Mm-hmm. Yet here in the Haverhill City Council, the pay happens to be not only $15,000 a year, but it comes with a benefit package, does it not?
That, I believe so, it does.
Wow, so that's pretty generous on your part to be able to do so. Is that also because of a requirement? Because do you happen to be on a...
Well, I am a public employee. People don't realize...
In what capacity?
I would take the salary if I could, but I'd still donate as much as I could from it.
Yeah.
But being a public employee, my restrictions are... That's why it's been so tough to run. It's taken me 10 years to get to the levels where I have been right now.
Yeah.
It's hard to ask. I can't ask for money. I can't solicitate in certain areas. But the restrictions of money-wise, though, I can't take the salary because it would be considered double dipping, so I'd be donating again to my thing.
If you take a look at some of the things and you follow what the city council has done over the period of the last 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
okay, are there any votes that you see that they've done that you think maybe should have gone a different way? Because what I'm trying to get at here is there's two schools of thought. If people run unopposed, they're running unopposed because the public generally thinks that they're doing a good job. But if they're running opposed, it's because somebody thinks that they can do a better job. And you're running because you think, I would like to surmise, because you think you can do a better job. How would that be?
Well, these are some of the things that I'm running on. Is actually I want to develop the river. I believe that we can utilize the river by using it, like bringing back maybe a ferry boat so we can transfer our neighbors to use up from Newburyport and Amesbury to come use our shops and restaurants. We got some of the best restaurants and the retail down there close to Boston. We have so many things that are so attractive, but having another access for recreational or anything that we need, I believe that these are some of the great things that we can bring forth. I think I can do a better job as your city councilor because we do need certain things, housing, infrastructure. We need our public safety to be at tops, which I think we're lacking. I also believe that not only public safety is our education standards to retain people. We need to promote more educational stuff.
You know, if you take a look at the amount of the reserves the mayor and the city of Haverhill currently hold, where would your first expenditure be for some of those reserves?
Well, number one was to get rid of the Haverhill debt. Believe we owe $4.1 million or something left. I understand the rationality. We've already paid the interest. Let's just pay the mortgage down. Let's pay that off. Let's stop holding that over people's heads. The people that are working in this town have been held to a certain standards that we don't seem to bring up our money to everybody. And being a public employee, we see this. Not bringing in new personnel. Everything's been cut. We need to bring things back where the Haverhill was great at certain points of time before all the Hales Hospital, the Glenn Memorial, and everything else brought us down. Number two, we need the infrastructure of our roads. We still have a lot of work to do on some of the roads. The highways and bridges are unfortunately at the state, but we still need to work on secondary roads, sidewalks, and everything else to make up handicapped accessible and so on.
Is there anything that you've done, just to wrap up, is there anything that you're doing differently in this run for city council that you haven't done in the past?
Doing a lot more larger events. I've knocked on over 3,000 doors at one point in my campaign, and I believe that actually promoting bit larger events and making myself more visible is actually helping.
Excellent. Fred Simmons, running for Haverhill City Council. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
We hope that this program has been a point of reference for you, and until next time, my name is Frank Novak, and thanks very much for watching. And remember to vote on Election Day, Tuesday, November 5th.